No.
When you get to the number, it goes for once.
Make sure to share it.
We just have to rotate the license before you do. Yes, all this. No, you want.
Okay, how's
AJ or Justin? AJ, he's great. It's funny, like, I couldn't read him. He's like happy go lucky. All right.
I know he's like 10 years old.
Totally condescending. I was like, this guy looks like nobody's cool.
All right, guys, I think we're officially ready to rock and roll. Thank you all for being here. My name is Anthony Rollins. I am kind of a newer agent at KW Beverly Hills. I have been a KW agent since 2007, the Santa Monica office. Now I'm happily here in Beverly Hills with all you beautiful folks. So I'm teaching this class today, database. And for me, I am starting on the path to becoming a KW approved trainer, which means that I have to take certain classes and get certain evaluations, score a certain number, teach in 3 different market centers, and grow your database is one of the classes that I teach and that I have taught before because of the fact that it's so important to understand your database and the importance of your database in your business. So one of the things that I just kind of want to start with in regards to database is how we think about our database, right? And there's going to be a couple of quotes that we'll go over in slides. And yet essentially your database is your business, right? And when we can start to change the way we think about our database, then the things about our database that we think about start to change, right? And that's a bold law in itself. Change the way you look at things and the things you look at change. So in regards to your database, one of the first things you may want to consider changing is the vernacular behind your database, right? Because it's going to be referred to as your data bank in this slideshow, right? So data bank versus database, right? We can already feel the difference, right? We can understand a different value in between those two terms and how we connect with them and what they each represent. So your data bank is your business. And your sales business will be in direct proportion to the quality of your data bank, right? So when I got into real estate a long time ago, don't be fooled by this youthful here, right? When I got into real estate a long time ago, the idea that someone could sell their practice was unheard of, right? People would then sell real estate for 20 years, they sell their last home, they'd switch the sign, gone fishing, and then they would just ride away into the sunset. Now, when we talk about other professions like doctors, lawyers, attorneys, insurance, salespeople, right? They sell what we call a book of business, right? It's a book of business of past, present, and future business opportunities that are then sold with the systems and models behind that operation and goodwill on the front of that building for the last 20 years. And that's essentially what they sell. Well, you have an opportunity to sell your data bank if you build it correctly, put systems and models that Keller Williams provides to you as part of that data bank and how you grow your business, and then you brand that business, right? So it's important that we start and we think with the end in mind, right? Begin with the end in mind. That's why your data bank is so important in how you think about it. So, all right, so this is lead generation, grow your database. So what we're going to copy to focus on today is we're going to look at smart data bank, right? We've already changed the way in how we think about the data bank, right? It's not a database because that's where our money is. And we know the opportunity that exists, that in any business that I just described that you can sell, you typically sell that business for 1.5 to 3 times net, right? So think about the agents that are in this office, the top agents, the top teams that are well branded, have a lot of sales volumes, and they run their business by systems and models. And they make $1 million a year, right? What's the opportunity to sell that business when someone decides that I'm done selling homes? It's a pretty great opportunity. In fact, one of the first guys that ever sold their business for $1 million is Bruce Hardy. You can look him up. He's a master faculty trainer with Keller Williams. And he definitely sold his business for over $1 million and was kind of the first person that I was aware of that did so. And yet there have been several that have followed after that. So maybe you don't have $1 million business that's worth selling. And yet if you focus on having a quality data bank that's lean and mean and full of past, present, and future opportunities, and there's systems and models behind it, and it's branded effectively, then you have an opportunity to sell that business when you decide you're done selling homes. And then you can sell a portion of it, keep a percentage, and then remain a consultant to that business, the same way you would if it were a practice or any other type of business that we're aware of. All right, so our first quote. Are you standing in or coming in? Come on in, grab a seat. I'd say it's warm in here, but it's a little chilly. All right, so our first quote today comes from Gary Keller. And Gary tells us, your database is your business. Building up the number of names in it and the relationship with those names is really at the very core of what building a real estate business is all about, right? So our goal is not only is our goal to create a database, right? Our goal is then to build. And when we build it, we want to consider our database, like I like to say, your database has a voracious, never-ending appetite, right? It's always hungry. It's always needing to be fed. And if we can keep that focus as we embark and continue through our real estate careers, and know that growing my database and communicating with it systematically and automatically is one of my core objectives, then we're going to understand that, yes, we're building the foundational piece of our business, and we have the proper understanding getting into everything, right? So I'm going to jump around a little bit here and just kind of drop some other things on you. Let's see if there's a marker for me to write with. All right. You guys see a marker anywhere?
There's like one over here. Let me see.
What kind of place is this?
I know, shocking. Got some chapstick if you want.
Yeah, it's the most important stuff, but okay. It's all good. Good morning. All right, so look at that.
It's the only one you got.
All right. I'm a Giants fan, so orange is perfect. All right, so I'm going to integrate some concepts from MREA into today's class because it's also important, and that's the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, right? That's the red book. That's the book that Gary Keller, Dave Jenks, and Jake Papasan decided to write in 2001. And just a little history about the book. In 1999, the growth trajectory of Keller Williams was very much like RE/MAX. So Gary Keller and Dave Jenks got together and they said, we're on a similar trajectory path as RE/MAX. Do we want to be just another real estate brokerage, or do we want to change the world? And they decided they wanted to change the world. So what they did was they wrote a book. And that book is probably largely a part of why you're here today. Because without that book having permeated throughout the real estate industry and becoming the #1 book on how to build $1 million business in real estate, most likely Keller Williams wouldn't be the company that it is today, and you may or may not be here today. So kudos to Gary, Jay, and Dave. And within that book, one of the first things that they talk about, excuse my writing, I didn't graduate with an art degree. So anyone know this from the MREA? Or has anyone here read the MREA? Okay, not enough hands are going up, so I'm going to suggest that you get a copy of it. I'm sure leadership here can either sell you or provide you with a copy of it, or you figure out a way to download it and listen to it on MP3. It's very important. Within that book is it's really the reason why you're here and the model on how to build a successful business, right? The book has been around since 2002. 20 years ago. It still holds true today the way that it did in 2002 and is even more relevant because as much as some things change, they remain the same. And the principles and the foundational models within that book are the essence of Keller Williams. So the more you can wrap your head around what's in that book, the more you can wrap your head around this company and what it offers you and the opportunity for you to tap into more. So within this, we call this the triangle. Some people used to call it the Keller Williams is a pyramid scheme, right? But we know that this is not the pyramid scheme. This is a triangle. So within this triangle, we have what's called the 3 L's, right? We have leads. We have listings. And then we have leverage, the 3 L's, right? And how this is supposed to work is that leads are foundational, right? Your business starts and ends with leads. And in regards to leads, there's never enough leads. You can never have enough leads. The quality is in the quantity, right? And if you ever hear people say, oh, house leads suck, Facebook leads suck, it's not the leads that suck, it's your follow-up on those leads that sucks. That needs to be better, right? Because all leads in your database at some point, if you've communicated with them systematically and automatically, and you've provided them knowledge and information, and you've educated them and nurtured them properly, right? What that allows you to do with the lead is to get them to know, like, and trust you. Right? And people want to do business with people who they know, who they like, and who they trust. Right? So when we can do that effectively, we create what's called mind share. So within mind share, which is what the MRE tells us, is that people typically have 3 or 4 spots in their brain for anything. Right? So if I said like computers, you're going to be able to name off 2 or 3, and then by the time you get to 3 or 4, it starts to get harder. Colas, Coke, Pepsi, RC, and whatever, tab, right? Same thing, Kleenex. What are those 3 or 4 that everyone knows? And then after that, you kind of fade away. It's the same thing with real estate agents, right? So our job is to remain front of mind, top of mind in the minds of our potential consumers. So when they are ready to transact, we're there when they have that decision, right? That's the only thing. Like we can't make someone buy a house. Right? We can't make someone sell a house. All we can do is just be in front of them. So when the thought hits, when the decision is made, we're in front of them and we get the opportunity. So I'm mentioning this here because leads are foundational as your database is foundational.
Okay.
Yes.
There's like a glare just right exactly where the triangle is. I don't know.
I can.
Can you see or not?
Yeah.
Or maybe bring it forward a little bit. That's good. Can you guys see?
I'm good here.
All right. So leads are foundational the way your database is foundational, right? So when we begin with the end in mind, right, which is one of 7 habits of highly effective people from Stephen Covey, then we can say, what do we want this to look like, right? When we future pace, we look ahead, what do we want our database to look like? That's how we start today, right? We know in building a house, it's all in the quality of the foundation, right? You build a solid foundation, you can put any house on it. You can put a 3-2, a 4-2, or a 7-10 mansion, right? It's all the foundation. Otherwise, you have a house tossed, right? Doesn't matter how pretty the house is here if it's on a poor foundation. So knowing that your data bank is the foundation of your business, which is also the foundation of how you run your business, right? Because ideally, leads that are cultured and nurtured, when they have decision-making and you're in front of them, lead to listings, right? And through listings, you have an opportunity to leverage your business. Now, newer agents are most likely going to be doing more buyer transactions because it's easier to conduct a buyer transaction than it is to get a seller to agree to list a home with you, because there's a certain savvy and knowledge that you have to bring to the table to get a seller listing. And yet I'm not telling anyone to not go after seller listings. And yet the path of least resistance is typically to represent uneducated buyers, where you're more so at this level here than opposed to a savvy seller and you're a new agent, right? So by having leads, we get listings, and then through listings, we have leverage. And what I mean by that is that the book tells us a couple of things. It tells us that any properly marketed listing should give you at least one additional sale, right? So you get a sign in front of someone's house and you're the listing agent. Number one, if it's priced right, it's going to be more of a guarantee to sell than it is driving a buyer around to see 5 or 6 homes with limited inventory, and they may like it or they may not like it. But when you have listings, right, the listing agent, he or she who has the listings has the control. So you get leverage in marketing, you get free marketing, right? You get the sign, you get to run the Facebook ad, you get to door knock with the flyers. You get all these marketing opportunities that come with the listing that you don't get when you represent buyers. So that's the leverage that comes, right? Because it's a lot easier to handle 10 or 15 listings with the proper systems and models in place than it is to try to service 10 or 15 ready, willing, and able buyers that all want to do something at the same time, right? So that's the leverage. Those are the 3 L's there. All right, so moving along here. All right, so here you see a picture. This is your database, and it's kind of shaped like a phone, so I like that. Because when you come on board and join this company, and the question is, what's your database? What does it look like? Well, my first question to you is, how many contacts do you have in your phone? And how many of those people in your phone, if you were to call them, would pick it up and say, hey, what's up, man? How's it going? Right? That's one way for us to start to determine and decipher and separate the people in our phone, right? Who would take your call when they see your caller ID? Those are typically people that are going to be the warmer people in your sphere of influence, as opposed to those who may be in there that you haven't talked to for years, or, like me, I don't take people out of my phone. I just leave them in there unless I have a severe falling out with them, and then get rid of them quick, right? So the first thing we want to do is we want to get the people out of our phone into our command, right? Or CRM, whatever one you're using. You pay for command, so you might as well be using it. It's part of your tech fee. It's a robust CRM that allows you a lot of functionality. I use it exclusively. We use it on our team exclusively, and it does very well. And over the last 3 years, it's gotten better and better and better and better. So it continues to get better. And I definitely would recommend it to you as far as where to start, right? So if there's a feature within Command on the mobile app, when you download the mobile app on Command, there's a feature on it that actually allows you to access the contacts in your phone and then do that upload to your Command desktop. Ta-da! Now you've got all those leads or all your sphere of influence contacts, names, and numbers from your phone into your CRM.
And how does it populate as what? Just as contacts?
It's just going to populate as contacts. Okay. Yes. So once you do that, then you're going to have to go through and start tagging them appropriately. So I always like to tag people, either the book tells us, the red book, that traditionally you have Mets and not Mets, right? Mets are people that they know you, they're going to pick up your call when you call them. Haven't Mets or not Mets are those people who are a targeted group of people, right? Either from church, synagogue, Little League, or your demographic farm area, that you're going to get their information. They're going to go into your CRM, and then your goal over a period of time, right, of systematically and automatically touching them, and is to move them from the haven't Mets to the Mets, right? So we like to say, love on your haven't Mets the same way you love on your Mets, the people you already know, right? And when you show love to strangers and you do so consistently, right, they get to know, like, and trust you. And when they know, like, and trust you, then when it's time to transact, you're going to be the person of choice that'll get the phone call. And we know that, I think it's 77 or 79% of buyers work with the first agent that they speak to. And I think that percentage is just a little lower for sellers as well, right? So it's always about being first or second. Yes.
Anthony, what's your philosophy on how many you should have in that database? There's two different schools of thought, like just have as many as you can just put in there, or do you kind of keep it to like a specific group that you can keep touching often?
I would say if you're gonna start with a geographic farm, start small and grow, right? So I would start with 400, right? 400 is enough, that's manageable. If you wanted to door knock it, you could do it all in a matter of weeks. If you wanted to mail it, it's not gonna cost you an arm and a leg. And it allows you to stay in front of it consistently. Ideally, you want to stay in front of your farm monthly, right? If that's a e-blast, which doesn't cost you any money, right? Because that's free, then you would do that. If it's a postcard, then you could still do that for about $1 a door. So it's only going to be $400 a month. Then as you get a sale from there, your goal is going to be to treat that sale and leverage it, market it properly, and get another deal out of it. And then once you get another deal out of it, then you can go from 400 to say 600, right? And then go from 6 to 1,000. But you play what we call in the red book, red light, green light, right? It's holding your investment accountable for a specific return before you spend any more money, right? And it's leading with revenue. That's also from the red book. So anytime I say, you guys may want to write this down, you may want to write this down. So like lead with revenue is holding your investments, holding your expenses accountable for a specific return before you spend any additional money. Yes.
How long do you give that before you start to analyze the process? Like you start to think, maybe this is just not the right area for me. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, or what am I doing right? Is it 3 months, 6 months? Like how long do you give it?
In regard to farming, right? Like if we plant an apple seed tomorrow, we don't get apples the next day, right? A couple of years, right?
Yeah.
And then we get apples for the rest of our lives, right? That's kind of how you're gonna need to look at farming as well. Not that you can't get a here, there opportunity, right? Because if you're in an area where there's enough turnover and you're hitting those people and they're getting to know you and you're knocking on the door and they're seeing your face every single month, you're gonna, if you spend enough time in the flow of opportunity, something's gonna hit you. You're gonna run into something, right? That's just either it. There's opportunity always. You're either in the stream, in the flow, or you're on the sidelines. And if your activities are putting you in the flow of opportunity, then you will come across opportunity. In regards to general farming, you would want to give it 6 to 12 months for it to kind of take root and kind of build some momentum in it, and then be able to, start harvesting, the rewards of your hard work and efforts. All right. So this one here, I want to spend some time on this. This is your database defined. And on the right, we have an image which comes from the MREA, and it's one of Gary's confusing diagrams. There's a lot of those within the MREA. And basically, this is kind of your lead capture funnel, right? And there's 3 parts of this. It says, which part of the lead generation and database model represents your database? Is your database more about lead generation? Are you looking to put people into it? Is it more about relationship management where you're communicating systematically and automatically with the people that are already in there? Or is it about the client and referral loop, right? So is your database more about the top, the middle, or the bottom of that funnel? Any healthy, robust database is going to be a combination of all 3. Right? We always want to be feeding our database from the top down as we bring new leads into it, right? As we intentionally talk to people and make that conversation about real estate, right? Not, hey, how you doing? My name's Anthony. Want to buy or sell? Right? And yet if it's, hey, my name's Anthony. What's your name? Hey, I see you around the gym, like, what are you doing to, whatever, right? What do you do? And then obviously, I'm a real estate agent. If you ever happen to know of anyone looking to buy, sell, or invest, let them know, And by the way, a gym is a great place to be and like market yourself. If you go to the gym, if you go to Orange Theory, if you do yoga, you want to be promoting yourself in that space and let everybody know that I am a real estate agent. And you'd be amazed that when that's a community right there. And I know a guy that he works out at Orange Theory, and he, between Instagram and Orange Theory, he just killed it. He killed it, right? Because he got intentional about being there and what was happening while he was there. So he's promoting his business. He was meeting people. He was doing business with the people that he was meeting. He was taking pictures of them at the gym. Hey, my latest buyer, posting it up to his Instagram, posting it to Orange Theory's Instagram, and then just growing. And now the guy's a mega agent because of that sole activity. That's how he got to where his business is. So we all have that group, right? It's just whether or not we're utilizing it. Same thing when you go into an elevator, right? You either look at your phone or you look at the person in the elevator and you say, hi, good morning. We all have done either one. And yet when you start to get intentional and purposeful about having more conversations about real estate, about growing your database, then you're going to start looking at your phone less and you're going to start greeting people more. Because real estate is a contact sport. And as a real estate agent, your job is to be making contact, right? Not just making contact, but like finish the play, right? Like you don't get paid just to put your hands on the runner, right? You got to be able to tackle them. You got to be able to bring them down. That's what we want to do. That's how we have to think about it. That's the mindset that we have to change, right? Because we are in the people business, even if you don't like that. All right. Some people don't like to talk to people, and yet they get the real estate license. Now, having said that, we do know that there's a lot of fear involved in what we do. In fact, Jason Abrams, and that's a name you want to write down. Jason Abrams is the head of industry at Keller Williams. If you go to YouTube and Google Jason Abrams, anytime you have an opportunity to listen to that man speak, I highly suggest you do so. He is amazing. He is one of my guys. I aspire to be Jason Abrams. So,
Excuse me, is it possible to write it?
pardon?
Write the name?
Jason Ambers?
Jason Abrams. Let's see here. Jason Abrams. All right. Abrams, head of industry with KW. So there's an education model for Keller Williams. And the education model says, it breaks down like the importance of education. And one of the things they say is like why we teach, right? We teach to teach people what to say and what to do. And then we also teach to move people past fear. Because the reality is that 85% of the real estate agents that get into this industry have fear related to the activities that they are required to do to be successful. Which is why real estate has one of the highest dropout rates of any profession. And you can be in a room of 10 or you can be in a room of 10,000 and know that in 2 years, 85 to 90% of the people in that room are not going to be there. So the question becomes, are you going to be part of the 80% or are you going to be part of the 20%? That's something else you want to write down, the 80-20 rule. I'll just write that up here. 80-20 rule. This is Pareto's principle. This is in the MREA. This is also in the 6 personal perspectives, which is something else you want to write down too, 6 personal perspectives. That's a class that Gary Keller originated through Quantum Leap and talks about your life and just kind of a path to getting a life by design. So the 80-20 rule basically says that 20% of your efforts are going to give you 80% of your desired results, and 80% of your efforts are going to give you 20%. In the world of real estate, the 20% that you want to be focusing on is lead generation, right? Now, I'm going to give you the breakdown of what the actual 20% is, and you definitely want to write all these down. So the agent's 20%, number 1, lead generation. Number 2, lead follow-up. Number 3, setting and going on appointments. Number 4, negotiating contracts. And number 5, daily script and role play. So until you become competent in script and dialogue and role play, and until you actually have appointments set you won't have contracts to negotiate until you actually have appointments set that you're going on and you're being successful in. So the really only the three that matter the most is lead generation, lead follow-up, and daily scripted role play. And if you don't know what to say, how to say it, and when to say it, then then that should almost be more important than lead generation. Because your lead generation efforts are going to fail if you don't know what to say, when to say it, and how to say it. So I suggest highly that everyone who's serious about having a career in this industry consider, where am I going to learn what to say? Right? Because you have to build and know and have a real estate game, right? You got to have game to be successful in this industry, right? Back in the day when you would go to the club, you thought you needed game, right? And you had to be able to talk, right? You need a real estate rep. Otherwise, you're going to be a wallflower going nowhere and wondering why you don't have money and you're not getting commission checks, right? So when you know what to say, how to say it, and when to say it, then that builds confidence, right? And that's part of the 4 C's, right? Your competency is the first C, which builds confidence, which then allows you to get contracts, which then leads to cash flow. Right? So when we know what to say, when to say it, and how to say it, that builds the confidence. Once we have the confidence, that starts to break away the fear that we have. And when we can eliminate fear and move forward with confidence, then we're coming more into our power as an individual and as a real estate agent. And we can kind of come from our power and move forward as an agent, then it's like, there's an invisible cape behind me, right? Because I'm kind of Superman. That's how you feel. So when you walk into an open house, or you're holding an open house, or you walk into a listing appointment, you step in with confidence. Like, this listing's mine, my price, my terms. And when your potential clients can feel that energy that you bring, then they've already made a decision before you've even opened your mouth. Right? It's kind of like getting directions from someone. And after 30 seconds, you're like, this is the person to be asking for directions. Right? We've all been there, right? So your buyers and sellers are the same way. And when you can come in there and like cut it with a knife, boom, 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 it doesn't matter how long have you been a licensed agent, how many homes have you sold, right? Because when you can convey confidence and you can convey trust, those questions don't come up. They don't come up at all. What's the next step? Well, the next step is for you to sign here, and then here's what the next steps look like. So it's really less about what you know, but about how you project yourself, knowing what to say, when to say it, and how to say it. That's going to determine your success in starting to get agreement with buyers and sellers. And then once you've gotten agreement and you can deliver on that value proposition that's part of your presentation, then you've done that job. And then referrals start to come into play. All right, so back to this here. When we look at this, again, a healthy database is going to have a combination of all 3 of these, right? A healthy database is kind of like a shark. A shark's always got to be swimming, right? Otherwise, if it stops, it'll drown. So your database has always got to have leads coming in. It's always got to have leads being cultivated and being touched systematically and automatically. And then at some point in time, at the bottom of that funnel, you're going to get business. And if you look at the bottom of that funnel, you see new and repeat, which is new business and repeat business. And then you see referrals. So here's a stat for you. 91% of homeowners say they would use the same agent again. You guys have any idea how many actually do?
7. Maybe.
Higher. Higher.
10. No, 9. Oh,
Wait.
11.
Yeah, 11 to 12%.
12% use the same agent.
11 to 12% use the same agent, although 9 out of 10, 91 out of 100 say that they would. Only 11 actually do. Why? Lack of follow-up, right? The same way you have systematic and automatic follow-up to communicate with those leads so you can move them through the funnel and cultivate them so they come out the bottom of the funnel as business. You should also have a post-transaction follow-up. Hey, 1-year anniversary. hey, it's January 1st. I know you're gonna need a copy of your closing statement for your tax purposes because we just closed in November. Right? So those are touches. Dropping by, saying hi, right? Because it's just as important as to stay in front of those people after the transaction, because we know it used to be every 4 to 5, 6 years someone would move, but now it's gotten to be closer to 7 to 10. And yet what's happening in between that 7 and 10 year period, right? There's the Ds, right? There's death, divorce, there's, kids are going to college, wife's having a baby, right? Just got a job promotion, just got fired, right? All these things are taking place in people's lives that are causing them to have to make decisions about real estate. And our goal is, again, to be top of mind. So when that decision-making time comes around, hey, let's give Jerry a call. Right? Let's give Jerry a call because Jerry helped us 7 years ago, as opposed to let's give that person, Bob Jones, a call because his sign is 4 doors down from us. So that's money we leave on the table because of poor follow-up, right? We know the money is in the follow-up and in the follow-through, just like a good golf swing, just like a good tennis swing. It's all in the follow-through.
How often should you touch that person over the course of next years?
I'd say once a month is adequate. They become part of your, as you start to build a business and you start to like, hey, just did a lease, just got buyer representation, just got a listing. All your existing database that you're trying to do business with should be part of those communications, right? Because you want them to know that you're doing business. Hey, this person that we met at the open house 2 months ago just sold a house. They just represented a buyer. They just took a listing. You want to do that same to your past clients, yes.
Do you think that connecting with them on your Instagram or your work Instagram is sufficient instead of personally reaching out to them every month so they see what you're doing?
I would say you would want to reach out to them. The book tells you quarterly. It depends on what your intent is, right? Because it's just like business. It's easier to keep a client than it is to get a new one, right? You spend 3 times more generating a new client than you do to keep an existing one. Same thing once you've already transacted with someone, because they're going to transact again. And in the interim, if you've done a good job for them and you stayed in communication with them, they're going to give you referrals.
Yeah.
So you can get in touch with them on Instagram, and that's probably sufficient if they're responding.
Yeah.
If you guys are having 2-way conversations on Instagram, you're probably okay. But I would still find a time to be it during the home anniversary or knowing when their birthdays are, or if you're friends with them on Facebook and you see life events taking place, that would be the time to reach out. Hey, I just saw you posted, Carson just graduated high school. That's amazing. Where's he going to college? No way. Scholarship. That's fantastic. How about Susie? Right? Those are the Ford questions. FORD. Family, occupation, recreation, dreams. When we lead conversations with Ford questions, we make it about them and then it becomes about us. Right? So I would definitely want to make sure that I was having some sort of Ford conversation with people that I've already transacted with. Yeah.
They're not.
I had to leave real quick. Can
Yeah.
you repeat the 4 again?
The Ford, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Not to be confused with the Ford vehicles found on road dead, fix or repair daily. All right, so at the very bottom, number 4, we see the new and repeat referrals. I want to talk a little bit about referrals because it's really important. There are people who are in your database, who are in your phone right now, who can make you a lot of money because they know, like, and trust you and want to see you succeed. Your goal should be to identify who those people are and then be in constant communication with them about what you do and your desires and your goals to help people and what it means. I like to call those frontline soldiers, right? Because there are people in your database who are frontline soldiers, and a frontline soldier is someone that when they hear the word real estate, it's something like this. Did you say real estate? You have to talk to Anthony Rollins. No, 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 no. Here, let me give you a card. Let me give you two. Not only is my friend for 30 years, but he's also a great real estate agent, right? We all have those. My best buddy for 30 years is an agent in Vegas. He was my Keller Williams sponsor. He's now at EXP. But because he's my buddy, every time I hear the word Las Vegas, I'm stepping up and he's getting a referral because that's just our relationship. If you have 2 or 3 or 4 of those people, they can change your year. They can change your life. Those are frontline soldiers. And all you have to do is identify them and then show them how to work for you. That's a big aha that I think a lot of people aren't aware of and haven't identified.
All the same.
All right. Okay. Command. I talked about KW Command. You guys should all be in Command. If you're not, you need to be. I would not go paying for another CRM, and there's a couple other good ones out there, and yet Command is perfect for what it does. And the thing that I love most about Command is that you can run very effective, cost-efficient Facebook ads through Command to grow your database. I taught a class on Facebook ads a couple of weeks ago, and we're scheduled to do a follow-up class. But as an agent, as a new agent, you definitely want to know how to run Facebook ads. And it is the most cost-effective way to grow your database and start having conversations that you're most likely not having. So you either have a lead generation problem or you have a lead follow-up problem. If you don't have enough leads to be talking to people, then you want to be engaging in lead generation activities. And one of them is to run cost-efficient Facebook ads where you can generate Facebook leads for $2, $2.50 each. So you can spend $100 a month and generate 25 to 35 leads and have those people in your database. And what I love most about it is that when you use a Facebook lead capture form, it just pulls the information for that user's Facebook account. First name, last name, email address, and phone number. So 85% of the time it's right information. That's easier for me than trying to track someone's information down, trying to skip trace or trying to get it from the title company and figure out if that's the right phone number, right email address, right? Yes.
Is that class saved? And
it may be or may not be. We're going to do it again.
Okay.
And we're going to record it if it's not.
Okay.
But yeah, I'd like to see every agent in this office running Facebook ads and generating leads, growing their database by 20, 30 people a month, right? You do 30 a month times 12, that's 360 people. You do that 2 years in a row, you got 720 people in your database that you didn't have. And they all at some point raised their hand, right? Either they were tired kicking or they were dreaming or they were ready to do something. And yet, going back to what I said, the quality is in the quantity, and you can never have enough leads. So I'm always running Facebook ads. They're always on. I always have leads coming in, and I'm going to master the conversion game of that because it's generating is only one aspect of it. It's the conversion part. And yet when you can create that consistent flow and knowing that your database is growing the way it should, and you're staying in front of them with the systematic automatic follow-up plans, then you're putting yourself in front of them. And then when you're making those conversations and phone calls that you're having with them, you're putting yourself in the best position to increase your conversion. And there are people in our company, Tyler Shields is one of them, who have done 100+ transactions in a year from Facebook ads that you're generating for $250 a piece. That's in LA. I generate Facebook ads cheaper here in LA than they do in other parts of the country. And that's at all price points. So we'll make sure that everybody here, because there's a new platform that they're running ads on that's pretty effective. Lots of integration, AI, things like that. So definitely something that you want to be doing. All right, four laws of database here. First law, we have to build a database, right? Getting our numbers out of our phone, getting them into Command. And then number 2, we have to feed it every day, right? Your database is just like any other living thing, right? It's either growing or it's dying, just like us, right? We're either growing or we're dying. At some point, we all do die. So what's your business doing? What's your database doing? Is it growing or is it dying? And if you can't, I mean, you're gonna answer that question one way or the other and know either you're heading in the right direction with your actions and what you're doing, or you need to consider going in a different route. Three is, like I said, communicate with it systematically and automatically. What sort of smart plans is your database on? Smart plans are the email and text campaigns that exist in command. There are some templates in command that have smart plans that you can just go access and get your leads on. And then there's others that you can build in command. So I've written quite a few that are in there. That's more of a deep dive conversation, but I'm going to say this after number 4, service all the leads that come from it, right? When you've done that systematically and automatically, and that decision-making time comes for them, because you're front of mind, you're going to be able to be the one that they're going to call, right? And that's how we service all the leads that come from that efforts of 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm going to say something here. You want to write this down too. The 201 Plus Club. 201 Plus Club at KW. KW ran all the numbers on everybody that is an agent and people who are in command. And what they found out is that agents who had 201 contacts in command that they had on a 36 touch, which is 36 individual touches over a 12-month period, and that they were making the quarterly calls to, right? Once a quarter, you touch your database with a phone call, which is why I suggested 4 times a year, even for your past clients, because we know life situations can change on a dime. A person that says, I'm never moving, right? Like something happens and they got to move next week. That's just life. So the more we can stay in front of those people, then the greater the opportunities we have for conversion. But the 201 Club basically says that for having, and this is a jump from at 200, income was about 79,000 a year average. When you got to 201 and above, it jumped to like 121 or 129,000. So that's kind of the aha of making sure that your database is at least 201 people that you have on a 36 touch campaign and that you're making quarterly calls to. And then I'm going to give you this to write down too. The DTD2 is a systematic follow-up plan that allows you to get through your database alphabetically every single quarter. And you can probably look that up in Google, DTD2. We can get you more information on that, or someone in the market center would be able to get you the DTD2 chart that says on Monday, you're going to call the A's and the I's, or the A and W's is what it is. And then the Tuesday, you're going to call the B and the D, and you just go through that weekly to where quarterly you've hit every single person in your database. And then at the end of the quarter, you just start it again. And then that way, you know who you're touching, when you're touching, and then how you're touching them. All right. Ahas, we're going to move forward here because we've got 9 minutes. I just want to get through some more material here. So we talked about build a database, right? At the minimum, you should have name, contact, past business record. You want name, I'd go cell phone numbers. Name, cell phone number, and email address is what you want, right? Because once you have those 3, then you can send them smart plan campaigns that are either text messaging or that have emails in them, right? So we want emails, we want cell phone numbers, and then we want first and last names. We want to feed it every day, right? Your database has a voracious, never-ending appetite. We have to feed it constantly. It's like the shark that always has to be swimming. So instead of like not talking to people in the elevator, you're going to be talking to them. It's people that the places you frequent all the time where you give money, right? Gas station, grocery store, dry cleaners, hair salon, nail salon, wherever that is, right? Barber shop. I'm paying $50 to get my haircut. You know, I'm talking to my barber like, yo, give me some referrals, right? So you should be doing that, because where you spend your money is where you frequent, right? Like, rub my back, I'm going to rub yours. That's just how it should work. Okay, so Gary tells us here, to succeed at a high level in real estate sales, you must commit to frequent contact with the database with the intent of building close relationships. Now, we covered this, right? Because it's all about what? Know, like, trust, just like the people in your Facebook feed, right? Who's in your Facebook feed? Strangers? No, friends, right? Who you know, like, and trust. Which is why you want to be making sure that they also know you're in real estate. And you don't want to drown them with 9 out of 10 posts being real estate related. 3 out of 10 is maybe what they suggest. You want to show that you're a human being who has a life outside of real estate and yet a passion for what you do. And that if you have a need to buy, sell, or invest, I'm your guy or gal. Because I tell you, there's no other worse feeling or gut punch than to find out that your friend bought a home or sold a home with another agent because you didn't do your job. And just because you didn't reach out to them doesn't mean that you're not sick in the stomach when you found out that they spent 1.5 too. Right? Excuse me while I go throw up, literally, right? Because I'm sick. So it's our job to not only stay in front of the people that we don't know, but it's also our job to stay in front of those that we do know. Because those are ones that are most likely to transact with us and refer us business. Communicate systematically. We talked about that. Smart plans, right? Quarterly phone calls, staying front of mind. What does that look like? You choosing a farm of 400? How are you communicating with them? Are you mailing them every single month? Are you sending them an e-flyer? Are you doing a quarterly market update? Are you door knocking them monthly? What are you doing? How often are you doing it? What's your messaging when you do it? Those are all things that we have to consider and then build a system behind it that we can then automate, right? The more we can automate something and not think about it, the better the chance that it's going to happen again with consistency. And Keller Williams is all about systems and models, and they're all there for you. You just need to have an understanding of what they look like in the capacity of geographical farming. What does it look like in the capacity of online lead generation? What does it look like from the capacity of holding open houses, right? There's a system and a model for everything in this company. Figure out what you want to do, find the right system for it, and then wrap your head around that system and implement it. And then your life becomes easier. And then you can leverage technology to free up your time, right? And through systematic lead generation, what that affords you after a period of time, because if you're consistent in your lead generation effort, at some point you're going to have more leads than you can handle on your own, right? Everyone's like, yeah, I'd like to have that problem. So when you do get to having that problem where you have more business than you can handle, what you're going to do is you're going to seek leverage, right? And leverage typically comes in the form of a part-time assistant. VA, I have a great VA. I pay $5 an hour for. That's the best money I spend. I look forward to cutting that check. I literally do, because it's the best money. It gives me back my time, and I love it. So when we get to the point of having leverage,
If you need some extra time, you're good.
okay, man. So leverage buys us back our time, right? So quality of life begins at lead generation, is what I like to say. Because when we consistently lead generate and generate leads and create business, then not only do we create opportunity for ourselves, but then we create opportunity for other people, right? When you get business, you know, the typical transaction, I think there's seven different direct people who benefit, but I think there's a total of, I don't know, it's more, right? There's title, there's escrow, there's the lender, there's the inspector, there's the appraisal, right? All these people like feed their families when we do our job, right? And we don't get enough credit for that. So, because they put us down at the bottom next to used car salesmen. But in reality, we're helping people transition through either the happiest periods of their lives or the worst periods of their lives. And when we can do so with grace and compassion, then we know we're doing our job, right? So that's something that we should always strive for and know why we're doing what we're doing and the impact that it's having, right? There's whys as to why you want to be doing real estate, right? Because you have goals, you have a big why, you have dreams. It's either family or, you know, I want the house at the lake, I want the car, I want to change lives, whatever that is. We want to have clarity on that because that's what helps make the lead generation effort happen. That's what allows us to build the database, right? When we can tie in our why to the activity, then we're more likely to go out and do that activity. If there's resistance in any way, shape, or form, like if you don't like to get on the phones and you're not in, like, it's not going to change. Because you'll be looking at that phone 10 years from now, man, say, I still hate you, right? That's just a mindset. That's something that you just have to change because you're in a contact sport industry and you're in an industry where you have to talk to people. And if you realize that I don't like talking to strangers, then you may want to go figure out something else to do because this job requires it to be successful. That's just the way it is. So segmenting your database. So you want to tag your database, right? Some of the favorite tags that I like. Hot, warm, cool, cold. Identify urgency in someone making a buying decision or selling decision. I also like to use 0 to 30, 30 to 60, 6 to 12 months, 12 months and beyond in tagging someone's motivation or time frame to do something. You can also use ABC, which is what, some people use, but you want to have something where when you look at a lead, they're tagged appropriately and you kind of know based on what that is, where their time frame is. And ideally, leads that are tagged with more urgency, you're talking to on a more frequent basis, right? Someone who's 6 or 12 months away may only need to be touched once a month, or once every other month. Someone that says, I'm going to do something the next 1 to 3 months, that's a weekly, right? Because you don't know if that 2 months turns to next week based on their situation. And then when you can tag your database efficiently, then you can segment it out and then have more direct conversations with that specific group, right? So someone that's looking to do something in the next 30 days may be interested in knowing that interest rates just hit a 20-year high. How's that going to affect your buying process? How is that going to affect your buying power? Are you still going to be able to make that purchase anyway? Someone that's looking to do something in 2024 might appreciate a blog article that says, here's what real estate forecasts are saying about the 2024 market. Right? So when we can segment those people out, buyers, sellers, time frame, investors, right? That's another one you want. People who own multi-units or own investment properties. So when you come across a hot deal, you can send it out specifically to them as opposed to trying to send that out to everybody. All right, just went over that. Dog lovers. You connect with someone on the dog level. That's it. If you have a dog, you should be taking that dog to the dog park. You should be wearing a KW shirt and you should be buttering up other dog owners and like literally have dog biscuits with KW stamped on it. Seriously, you're in like Flint. That's a big one. Okay, so I'm going to do this here and I think we're going to be able to wrap after this, but this is a real important page here. And this talks about the lead process, right? So we see leads 19 to connect. Back when I got into business, it was called an 8x8, right? You meet someone at an open house, you meet someone at Starbucks, you'd put them on an 8x8. An 8x8 was 8 touches over 8 weeks to solidify that relationship. Now, back when this book was written in 2002, we were just kind of coming into the whole internet space and technology. And now we are so bombarded with information, with everything coming at us 24/7, even while we sleep. We wake up and our phone has messages that came in while we were sleeping, that it is now takes 19 touches to connect as opposed to the 8. And then once you've got that 19 to connect, and here they say quarterly phone call, monthly email, promotional direct mail, one touch being an annual event, a party, movie screening, get together, right? We've got holidays coming up here, which is a great time to consider warming up to your database, right? I'm going to post up in the Facebook page access to my holiday text campaign. One of the best things that I've ever created that's gotten a lot of downloads and has gotten the greatest number of responses from sending it out, right? Someone on my team got over 60 responses to the Labor Day text. I got over 60 as well. There's a Halloween text coming up. There's a Thanksgiving, and then there's a holiday kind of in between Hanukkah and Christmas. And then a New Year's one a week later. So if you're looking at warming up the database and getting response out of them, you want to be on that text campaign. And then I'm going to build it out for 2024 so you can launch it on January 1 and it'll go through the entire year and you won't have to worry about it. You can set it and forget it. So in the middle, we see 1 to cement, a high value touch that solidifies the relationship you've just established that opens the door for future interactions. I'm quite certain what that looks like, somewhere in between a Starbucks gift card and a Tesla. You know, to cement that relationship. I don't know. But definitely something that's a little bit step above, right? amcards.com, we want to write that down too, is a great company that sends out, it's in a handwritten font, sends out a card that gets delivered in about 3 days. You can send out just a card. You can send a card with a $2 bill, which I really like. Or you can send it out with a Starbucks gift card, brownies, and a little book as well. But, you know, for the time that it takes for us to think about doing something, we never get around to doing it because we all have good intentions. But with AM cards, just go straight to the website, type in their address, type in your return address. Hey, it was great seeing you, so-and-so. I hope you have a happy Halloween or, you know, upcoming whatever. Boom, that's it. So anything we can do in less than 2 minutes, we tend to have to be able to do it, right? If it takes more than that, then it's something that, unless it's urgent and important, it gets pushed off. And then in the last column here, we have 36 to convert, right? This used to be a 32 touch system that we found in the red book, the 32 touches over a 12-month period. Now they have figured out that it takes 36 touches. So that 36 touch plus with the quarterly calls is what we're going to do to keep that database front of mind, right? And be able to do well and convert those leads when they become available. I'm just going to finish up here. So that's database, right? We change our mindset in our vernacular and we start calling that a data bank. Gary Keller also says your job is to build a community and serve the community. So like I said, that can start with wherever you are. That's your community within the gym. That's your community in a running group, fishing group, a park group, no matter what it is. Like people like to do business with people that are like them, who they know, like, and trust. So figure out like what you like doing or where you're already spending your time and how to connect at a deeper level with people there and introduce real estate. And then you can go from there. You can take that passion, create a Facebook group around it, control who you let into that group, and then be the town crier, right? That's posting the information, that's promoting them, promoting the other services, and really becoming the man or woman.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Thank you. I learned a lot of tips about the how should build the community, but in your experience, which one is the most important?
The most important of what?
About the build the community, how build the community, which one is the most important?
Whatever you connect with right here. That's it. Yeah. Like for me, it's Little League Baseball. That's it. Like I'm, you know, like I'm gonna impact the Little League Baseball world in like just drive my purpose right through it. And by me having an impact on the organization and the children within it, then the parents are gonna be like, thank you so much, right? And their return of favor will be real estate transactions. But I'm not even thinking about it from a real estate transaction standpoint. It's just my gift that I want to give back to the community because I have a passion for baseball. So whatever your passion is what you want to focus on building community around.
You're right on the dogs. I've already got four people that are like, we're scouting for a bunch of places for one, 3 or 4 others. So dog, buy a dog,
Yeah,
buy a dog, walk a dog. That's
yeah,
I
that's it.
got a 10-pound, 11-month-old poodle. I will happily rent that poodle out to you.
I will give you one of my golden retrievers.
Okay, we'll
I have a
do
Frenchie.
A dog.
Okay, we'll all go door knock together.
Come to my neighborhood, everybody else.
Help you land a significant other, it can get you a.
That's right.
You know that. All right. Okay, so ahas before we wrap up here, and then I'm gonna actually show you this here. So if you guys can please hit this QR code. My name's not gonna be in there, and yet I would appreciate everyone, even you people online, please scan this QR code and then fill out an evaluation for this class, session 6, build your database. And you should be able to type my name in there as well. And if you have found this class to have been of value, I hope that you would score me highly, that would reflect that. And then I will be on my path to becoming a KWU approved trainer and ultimately a master faculty trainer with this company. Then I can go all over these forward living market centers and drop dimes and knowledge and stuff like that.
Science.
Yeah. All right, so give me,
What's the name of the class again?
Ignite Session 6,
Ignite.
build your database.
I'm seeing that.
Ignite.
10, 11, 12.
Grow your database.
Database, yeah.
That's down here. Gotcha. Limited attention span.
Okay, there it says, if your instructor is not yet KW faculty, please select instructor not in the dropdown, then type in their name. Then you guys got to give me 3 ahas, otherwise no one's leaving. I'll lock the doors.
Cool.
Let you go, do the job here so we can do this call in 35 minutes so we can understand what the problem is.
Was he talking the whole time? No, somebody out there?
Yeah, he's been
The whole time?
No, I don't think so.
half of the.
Okay.
Anthony,
Yes, sir.
how come you're not in our list of instructors?
I'm taking those initial steps. So hopefully within the next 6 months, you'll see me there. You'll just be able to scroll down. Hey, there's my guy. So I need 75 positive reviews. I need to teach in 3 different market centers. 3 classes.
And we have fire coaching, which was previously flow coaching, in a minute or two. So
Yeah.
if you guys want to stay, you're more than welcome to.
Should stay. Good stuff.
Anthony. Oh, he's not in there yet.
Yeah, I'm not in there yet. I figure maybe I'll just put my name down here. You guys can. ANTHONYROLLINS.
You're not in the
Go
drop
all the
down.
way down to the bottom.
Yeah, so at the very bottom, it says, if your instructor is not yet KW faculty, please select instructor not in dropdown, then type in their name.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, Anthony, what was the name of the card company you mentioned?
AM cards.
Was that M for A for Apple, M for Michael?
Yeah.
Is that correct, sir?
CARDS.com.
What, sorry, one more time.
CARDS.com, amcard.com.
Okay, A for Apple, M for Michael. Thanks.
That's correct.
Appreciate that, sir. Great class. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you for being here.
Pleasure.
Here, Anthony, right here. R, that's an R, OLLINS. That's you. Then if you've done ahas,
Aha.
yes. The ahas.
Uh-huh.
Aha, yes, so I get like a light bulb, aha, something that we learned that we now are gonna take and consider how to implement
Now,
that.
where are you gonna be doing like your Christmas list you talked about and stuff like that?
This, you mean the holiday? I'm gonna post to the Facebook group where they can go to commands and
Okay.
find it.
Okay,
And, if needed, I'll do a class on how to
okay. No, that's,
take a smart plan and add your database to it.
okay,
But that's definitely something you want to jump on.
definitely.
Okay, ahas.
Ahas, there's a few.
Were there that many that we can't recall?
There's that many.
For me, it's always been about trying to commit to this database. It just feels so overwhelming when you look at it. But I think my aha is gonna be walking away with just starting to upload that information and just staying on top of it. Otherwise, I'm not doing business. Like that seems pretty clear. If I don't, my data bank is what I totally just changed my whole perspective on that.
Okay,
From database to data bank, change my day.
there you go.
Yeah.
Who's got another aha?
You got,
Hey, that joke's dead, man. Like, it got not funny after her. Cause she was number two.
I'm tardy, but I know this training and class, the database is very essential to successful business and,
All right,
back.
one more, so I can go.
Well, I just love what you said about coming from the heart, because one of my sales was a house that was, the couple really wanted to move to Hawaii. They were set on it, but the house wasn't selling because it was on a busy street. And it also had high rises in the back, so there was a lot of, but we ended up finding this couple that was from New York. The backyard reminded her of Central Park because of the high rises. He actually liked the traffic because he liked to watch cars go by. And it was just so heartwarming that they got the perfect house that they wanted, and it's not the sale, it was how they got and felt once they got into it.
It's never about the sale, it's about the coming together,
Yeah.
you know, and
It's really
it's
fun.
like, you know, there's a story behind every home.
Yeah.
And every home buyer and every home seller, and when we can be in the middle, like when we can be the conduit that makes that connection and brings it together,
Yeah.
that's what it's all about, right?
Agents that are just like chasing that commission, I feel like are missing so much on the experience and getting a chance to get to know like other people and their stories. I mean, like everyone in this room has a story and everyone.
We're
in this
still all
transaction-
good friends now, and even the buyers and sellers became good friends.
That's what it should be, man. If you've done your job correctly, that's the end result.
Friends become family.
Yeah.
Settle down, essence.
All right, so I'm gonna let you guys off the hook on ahas, because I dropped like way too many dimes.
I know.
Hey, Jerry, show your ahas, okay? Next class, I'm seriously not letting anyone out until I get 3 big ahas that are gonna be like changing how you look at your business, changing what you go do next, because that's the most important thing, right? Is that you leave here with knowledge that you didn't have when you come in here, and then what are you gonna do with the knowledge that you have, right? Because it's not knowledge, it's about applied knowledge, implemented knowledge that makes a difference.
And when you're running your Facebook ads, what area, you've got a farming area, I'm sure. But how do you set certain areas as far as like say West Hollywood or?
Facebook ads run in radius. So-
Okay.
So it'd be a minimum 15-mile radius around a central area.
Okay,
That's basically it. So I run most of my Facebook ads around Culver City, 15 to 20 miles, because it's a centralized area.
okay,
And if I do Santa Monica, then half of my search is in the ocean.
right.
And you wouldn't know that unless you had done ads before, and to know that you want to make sure that your radius is not in the water.
What if I want to buy a house in the ocean?
What if a dolphin wants to buy?
This is true.
What if a yacht comes by? and I
Exactly.
Sell to one of the people on the yacht. You know?
You know,
You're good to go, trust me. There's lots of yachts there, lots of yacht owners. You're good to go.
I met an agent one time on the beach. That was her office, like
Yeah.
it was in San Tropez. She goes, those are my clients. She just worked from the beach. Everyone that came on, she started us.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm gonna post it on YouTube.
As
Awesome.
Yeah.
Get used to the command right out
Yeah,
the
I
gate.
haven't learned about the command.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now,
Download it.
it paralyzed me, it was intimidating, it was
Yeah.
whatever, but if you can just get familiar with it right out the gate.
Yeah.
It'll change your life.
Are there command classes that are taught here?
Yes, and that gentleman through those doors is one of the people that teaches them.
Blakey.
Blakey, I know Blakey.
Yeah,
I need to talk.
should be every other Wednesday.
Okay, yeah, I
It's
definitely
command
need
classes.
to.
Okay. I'm gonna grab a seat over here because I got a little something to do. Before I get off the mic.
Thanks, Anthony, appreciate you.
Thank you, Anthony.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you being here.
No, you can. Let's get in, let Anthony slide in. Get over here, get over here.
All right, I'll slide in here.
Slide in here.
I'm gonna slide.
Slide.
All right, thank you for coming.
Yeah, slide.
Yeah, thanks for coming. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you.
The fire